Look at this big, beautiful double chocolate chip cookie. I mean, look at the size of this cookie, too. It's about the size of my hand. Something that kind of is sort of a continuation from what I did on Monday on the main channel when I talked about one of my favorite YouTubers, Chris Stuckman, and I brought up the rants of annoying moviegoers in theaters that he touched on. It's a video I like to go back to every once in a while, especially when I've had a rough theater-going experience, and I've had a couple of rough theater-going experiences in the, 31 years since I've gone to see movies in a theater. I mean, I've been seeing movies in theaters since 1995, and there have been more times than not, everything has gone the way it should be. I go to a theater, I get to sit and enjoy the bask in the glow of watching a movie on a big screen with no problems whatsoever. I always have a strategy when it comes to going to the movie theaters. I usually like to sit up at the far top on the either left or right side of the theater I'm at Cinemark, because I can just walk up the steps and boom, my seat's right there. I don't have to worry about anybody getting in the way or having to move for anybody. I could just, if I have to go to the bathroom, I could just get up, run down, go to the bathroom, then come back up and go back to my seat. No problems whatsoever. Some of the worst movie-going experiences I've ever had in particular. There's 6 that really came to mind in terms of moments where I was just sitting there. I just wanted to go and sit and relax and enjoy a movie experience, and then just the most random things would happen at the most inopportune times. Like one of the earliest examples of a really bad movie-going experience I had, I've touched on this before, I've even done a video on it over on the other channel, is when I broke my pinky finger watching the movie Shark Tale. And it was one of those things where I was in the movie theater, I went down to go to the, I think it was either to go to the bathroom or get a refill or something, but what had happened was that my pinky finger got caught on the thing that's holding the railing together to the wall. Not the railing itself, what would you call it? I can't remember what it's called now, but it's the thing that holds the railing to the wall. And I didn't realize it, but my finger had got caught in that. And the craziest part was my finger didn't really hurt, but it was getting bigger. Like something wasn't right there, and it felt like it didn't really feel any different at all. I had to wait until after I got done with the movie theater, and my mother was actually there. Was there to pick me up in the theater, and she told me, and she realized that something was wrong. So we went over to the doctor's right across from over, and yeah, it turns out I broke my pinky finger, so I had to wear like a little what would you call it? A little pinky bandage thing, not a bandage thing, like a little holder to like hold it together overall. And I had to wear that for like a month or so, and it wasn't bad, but it certainly was uncomfortable to move my finger around. I mean, it was a tough thing that I had to go through with that. But I touched on that earlier on another video I did. So, and of course, one of the other movie-going experiences I've had that I'm not too keen of is the first time I ever walked out of a movie, and that was, of course, with The Spirit. Again, something else I touched on when I did the top worst movies of all time. I think The Spirit was like number 4 or 5 on there, and I touched on why I left. And the movie was just already getting on my nerves for just how just terrible it was. From the lack of, it wasn't even the fact that it was a pulpy, cheesy comic book movie. It was just doing stuff to be just stupid, insulting. It was uncomfortable to sit through. There was nothing going on. There was only one moment that woke me up, and that was when Eva Mendes showed her ass in a PG-13 movie, and that was the only thing that really made me go like, okay, this isn't all that bad. But then the moment that made me just get out of the movie theater for the last time that day, and the moment where I finally broke my stance on not walking out of a movie was when that scene happens where Samuel L. Jackson is showing the spirit, because he's got the spirit trapped in this thing, and he's got a cat, and he's putting it in this milk. It's like either a milk or some kind of water or so. And when they show this cat dissipating and showing that the little eyeballs in the sink, that was the moment where I just said, I can't take this anymore. And I got up and left. Like, that was the moment where I was just said, I can't take this anymore. I mean, the movie had gotten so bad at that point that I just couldn't do it anymore. I was left with about 30 minutes left in the film. I can't remember, because I've never seen the end of the movie, so I don't really know how long it was, but I was able to get my money back on that, and honestly, and to be truthful to you, I didn't even pay for that because that was a free movie ticket I got. So I actually made some money that day. Made about like $8 that day watching The Spirit. But yeah, and I've of course talked about walking out of other movies as well. Aliens in the Attic, I've walked out of that. I talked about how I've almost walked out of movies. Just recently, I almost walked out of Moana after 2 seconds in, the live-action Moana. I mean, that movie was just brutal, man. I mean, but that's not what I want to talk about here. But what I want to talk about next up is the time I went to go see The Legend of Tarzan. And, The Legend of Tarzan, I just talked about it on Time About the Movies not too long ago. And, so this was right when the Cinemark theater that I go to started putting in this reserved seating in their seating areas, especially with the XD theater, and usually, and now it's become, if you go to any movie theater at Cinemark, they give you reserved seating automatically, so you have to just basically go. You basically have to go and just pick a seat when you get there and all that type of stuff. But back then, it was just only confined to that one XD theater, so I went to The Legend of Tarzan, picked the XD theater, reserved my seats for N25, and as I usually do, I show up about 15 minutes before the movie's set to start, and somebody was sitting in my seat that I had reserved. And this had happened twice beforehand, one with Jurassic World, and, some guy took my seat that I had, and I had to sit in the middle of the top row in a heavily crowded theater, which sucked. And then, before that, I had that happen with the Huntsman Winter's War, where teens wouldn't turn off their cell phones and stop talking during the movie, as well as this couple on the other side of the row who were about to have sex. Like, that was just kind of like, it's weird. That's the second time in my time going to movies on my own where that's happened, where I've seen somebody on the cusp of having sex. That happened at Happy Feet, back in my old theater. I'm just kind of like, I mean, I guess because it's a kids film and it's late at night, people aren't going to understand. People aren't going to check for overall. But I mean, it was just weird. It's just weird to do that in a movie theater, nonetheless. It's just like, I mean, I know the story about Brad Jones's midnight screenings, where I think Jake saw Mr. Popper's Penguins and someone was actually having sex in the movie theater at a midnight screening. But back to Legend of Tarzan. But this actually had happened a month before, where I went to go see Captain America Civil War, and there was a couple in my seat, and I told them that, they were in my seat, it's N25, and the husband was just like, well, I don't see N26, well, I don't see N25 here, and like, I had to show them I showed them the number, and they moved over, didn't even apologize, they moved over, they just acted like I was inconveniencing them, which is like, dude, I'm just asking you to move one fucking seat down, it's not the end of the world. Plus, it was a Saturday morning screening, so it wasn't as packed as it would have been later on in the day. But getting back to Legend of Tarzan, there were people sitting in my seat. I decided not to say anything because I went to the Cinemark app and checked the showing I was at to see what seats were available 10 to 15 minutes before the show started. And no seats were taken with the other side of the theater, so I went over to the other side of the theater. I sat in N2, thinking I'm not doing anything wrong, because since clearly other people can take my seat that I reserved in this town, nobody ever pays attention to their damn tickets, where it literally tells you the seat you're supposed to sit in. I mean, the ticket's right here. I'll show it to you because I think I'm going to do a video for the other channel as the monologue, where I'll show you the ticket right there, and it says N25 on there. So I'm sitting in N2, and then all of a sudden, all these people start coming up to the top row, and they're randomly talking before the preview started, and all of a sudden I turn my head to the left for a second, and the people in my seat that I reserved are pointing at me like I did something wrong, like I'm a criminal because of the seat I was sitting in. Well, you know what? If you actually looked at your damn ticket and the seat number and know that the seat you're sitting in was not meant for you, then we wouldn't have this damn problem. Like, it's just, what happens when you go to a sporting event or a Broadway show or a play or something like that? Your ticket has the seat number on it. That doesn't mean you can just take somebody else's spot because it's there and the person who was set to sit there hasn't arrived yet. Like, I feel like George Costanza. I just want to go out and scream like, we're living in a society here. We're supposed to act in a civilized way. And the worst part about it is that this was building up after a couple of months of, seeing people, wouldn't stop talking during the cell phones, couples about to have sex, babies starting to cry in the middle of the movie, taking babies to movies that you shouldn't be taking them to. I mean, this had become a problem, and if only I had known that 10 years later, theater going would get much worse. Like, it's funny, Chris Stuckman, in his annoying moviegoers rants video, talked about the theater going experience in 2016, and I couldn't help but think to myself, it's gonna get worse before it gets any better, because yeah. So I already touched on the Huntsman Winter's War. There was another time when I went to go see, I think it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse again. Wasn't the first time I saw it. It was it was like the third or fourth time I went to go see that movie. But there was another time where they brought a baby that wouldn't stop crying, and and it was only for a little bit, so I'm not going to bring that up too much. The next one I want to bring up was when I went to go see The Call of the Wild. This was about a couple of weeks before COVID took over and kind of shut everything down. So this is still when it was okay to go out and go see movies. And I really wanted to see the movie, The Call of the Wild, because I really liked the director, Chris Sanders, and I really enjoyed that film overall. But, yeah, this may have been the worst movie-going experience I had since I broke my pinky finger, because, I went to The Call of the Wild. It was actually a packed house for that movie, which was actually kind of nice to know that people were going to see that film. 90 to 95% full of people with 2 seats next to me on the right. I sat on the far left of the theater, up at the top, but there was this older lady, probably in her late 40s, early 50s, and she would not shut the hell up. She was just being obnoxious and annoying, and she was doing that fake laughter at every joke. When I say every joke, I mean every single joke. Not just at the movie itself, but during the commercials. Laughing at those stupid insurance commercials. They feel like once they do one, they have to make it into a series of commercials. I'm looking at you, Geico and Progressive. And during those trailers, she was doing that fake laughter. That it was all like that all throughout the movie. And I could have said something, but like I said, the theater was packed with like 90 to 95% of people. And there were people in front of her. There were people in front of her that could have done that too. So I would think that they would do that, but nope, didn't do that. And on top of that, she was overreacting to everything. She would speak her thoughts out so loud. Like, there's this scene early on where Buck is in his home in California, and they've got to set up for this party with all this food, and Buck's eyeing it, and anyone with a brain can think to themselves what happens next. But just in case somebody didn't, this lady will surely tell you by going, ooh, like I'm telling you what's about to happen. Like, oh, this dog's gonna ruin this party. Oh no! And it's moments like this where I want to be like George Costanza and just tell the lady to shut her trap up and let me watch the damn movie. I don't need a commentary while I'm trying to watch it, because if I do, I'll wait for the Blu-ray to come out. Again, taking another bit from Chris Stuckman, who also said the same thing about The Conjuring. When he went to go see the first one, he was just like, if he looked at the ladies behind him and went like, ladies, if I want a commentary, I'll wait for the Blu-ray. But then there's those little moments where the tension gets ramped up and you get a bit of a jump scare in the final climax. It's not really a jump scare, honestly. It's just a part where Harrison Ford's sitting in a second cabin with Buck alone, completely quiet. He hears the noise from outside, goes out there, and then all of a sudden somebody throws something on fire through his window and the glass shatters. At that point, that woman jumped from her seat, and I felt it. Like, it literally, it felt like the top row moved up as much as I did. Which I didn't know I was paying for a D-Box screening of The Call of the Wild, but I didn't. But at that point, I almost lost it. I couldn't keep my cool. I kept my cool. I tried to enjoy the movie, and that point really irked me so much that I almost said something. And I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't have done anything violent or anything like that. I was just saying, lady, can you please shut the fuck up? Like, you've been doing this the entire movie. Like, if you just say that, excuse me while I eat my cookie, if somebody around her would have just said, ma'am, can you please be quiet? You've been doing this the entire movie. That should be a sign that maybe you should shut up. Like, when I went to go see The Dark Knight Rises on the midnight screening for that, there were these guys that were talking during the movie, and, somebody went up and couldn't take it anymore and said, hey guys, can you shut up, please? And, like, I even followed up by saying, please do that. We're trying to watch a movie. I mean, that moment that was one of those movies where I didn't let that ruin my overall thoughts on the movie, but that really just irked me to no end. And then, of course, recently back when I did the first episodes of this, I touched on what happened at Oppenheimer, where, I went to go see Oppenheimer. I sat in my usual seat. Got up to go to the bathroom to go get my popcorn and my drink refilled as well. And then when I come back, there's a guy sitting in my seat talking on his cell phone. And I'm just looking at them and going like, what are you doing? Like, why are you, first of all, why are you in my seat? 2, why are you talking on your cell phone? And 3, why aren't you doing this outside the theater? Do it outside where there's no noise. You're not, the movie isn't playing in the background. Just, like, common sense, people. And then on top of that, the dude goes behind me, and I swear, it felt like I was in the scene from Kentucky Fried Movie, the the feel-around vision. The feel-o-vision scene. Like, I felt as I was just waiting for this dude to put his arms on me and just give me like a massage on it. I'm just thinking like, you know, it's just, that's part of the reason why I don't usually take the camera to the movies anymore. I just want to go see the movies themselves for the experience. I mean, that's why you haven't seen me at the movie theaters on this channel on the other channel for a while now, because I do tend to try to keep that to a minimum and just go in there and try to have a good time at the movie theater, unless I see something that I think would be really cool to show you guys. But that has yet to happen ever since I stopped going to take my camera with me all the time, which basically is my phone. But I mean, it's just going to show you that going to the movie theaters, people just don't care how you take it. They just want to go to the movie theaters and just pretend like they're sitting at home. They just want to do whatever they want. They want to be as loud as they want to. They want to text on their cell phones. They don't care about the movie going forward. They want to make the movie a viral moment. And sadly, movie studios are realizing that. I mean, with the whole Gentleminions thing from a couple years back, and then the Chicken Jockey thing from last year, they don't care about making the movie-going experience what it is. They want to make it a viral moment, and if it means being loud and obnoxious and just, you know, just pretending like nobody else in the theater matters to, except for your clicks and your clout chasing, influencing bullshit, that's perfectly fine with them, apparently. But yeah, that's just something I kind of wanted to bring up since I did the video talking about Chris Stuckman's movie theater experiences overall. And yeah, I've had a couple of those really bad ones. Those are the ones that really stuck out the most to me. But